Hi, welcome to the Creative Treehouse. My name is Robin Broom and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. Thanks for joining me in the Treehouse today. Today's project is not going to be a card. It's like a little paper crafting project, and it is a little gift of tea. So it's just, I made several. I was going to make them different colors. They all ended up in different shades of green. This is the one that we're going to make today. And let me open it and I'll just show you. I don't have it all completely done as far as it doesn't have all the tea in it, but it holds 4 different tea bags. And I wanted to use, I had a friend whose favorite color was green, and I just enjoyed making this and also using up some of the designer series paper that I had. Really, really pretty. And so we're going to make this one. And I also used, on this one I used Soft Succulent, and this one the Evening Evergreen, 2 of the in colors. And different ribbons and things like that. So anyway, that's what it is. And a tea bag container, maybe. I don't know if it has a name or not. I actually saw it and watched a video by a French demonstrator, and I cannot find the I looked all over for the same one to give her credit, but because hers was in French, I had no idea. I could watch, but I had no idea. And of course, the measurements would be different as well. So I'm going to give you the the English measurements in inches instead of centimeters. And so I just adapted. I believe hers actually had 5 little pockets. So there's a base and the pockets. So let's get to it, and we will make the one using the Pear Pizzaz. And let me show you what you will need. You'll need designer series paper, and it doesn't, if you end up with, let me show you this one. If you end up with one that is directional, you'll need to make it this way, and these 2 panels will need to be this one way, but this panel will actually be the opposite direction. So you can see if I pull this back out, it's going to be the opposite direction. So you don't want them all the same, going the same, so the trees are going up. Because if these trees were going up, then they would be upside down, if that makes sense. But anyway, I think it'll make sense when we start to make it. So let's get started with dimensions so that you'll know what you need. You'll need, now for these I used Pear Pizzaz, but you know, like I said, you can use whichever colors you have on hand, and DSP and ribbon that all coordinates, and I love Stampin' Up! For that reason. All right, so your base is going to be 8 3/4 by 2 3/4. So 8 3/4 by 2 3/4, and we're going to score it on the long side, and I'll get to the score lines in just a minute. You'll need 1 of these. You will need 4 of these that make the pockets for the inside. So you'll need 4, and these are cut at 5 7/8 by 2 1/2. 5 7/8 by 2 1/2. All right, and then your designer series paper, you'll need a strip that is 2 1/2 inches wide, and you'll need 1 piece that's cut at 1 3/4, and you'll need another one that's cut at 2 3/4, and you'll need another one that's cut at 1 3/4. So 2 1/2 is the width, and you've got one that is 1 3/4, 2 3/4, and 2 1/4. And I'll see if I can be posting the measurements somewhere so you don't have to keep watching over and over again and putting it on stop and fast forward and rewind. All right, so I'm going to bring out my Simply Scored. I'm going to take the base, which is the long piece, that's just the 8 3/4 by 2 3/4. And I'll take the scoring tool, and I usually use the smaller end. It does have 2 ends. All right, and we are going to score starting at 2 1/2. So we'll score at 2 1/2, and then 3. And so these end up being half an inch, okay, in between. And then we'll move up to 6 1/8. And then the other 1/2 inch would be 6 5/8. Okay, so you're scoring at 2 1/2, 3, 6 1/8, and 6 5/8. Okay, while we have the Simply Score out, let's get one of our pocket pieces. And it is 5 7/8 by 2 1/2. We're going to score it also on the long side, and we're going to be scoring it at 2 5/8, and then 2 3/4, which is only 1/8 of an inch more, and then slide up to 5 3/8 and 5 1/2. Whoops. Jump in the track there. That's funny. Let me try it one more time. Aha, I got it that time. Okay, so, and you will need 4 pieces like that. All right, I'm only going to score it one time just to save time. All right, we are finished with a Simply Score. Let me slide it out of the way. And it really doesn't matter which one you start with. Why don't we'll start with the base. And let me see if I brought my bone folder. I think I did, because you definitely need that one to make nice crisp lines on everything. All right, bone folder in hand. Okay, something that's kind of funny, people want to know, do you score it after it's scored? Do you fold it on the valley or the mountain side? And to me, you want to, I think about you don't want to turn a molehill into a mountain. So here's your molehill. You don't want it to be a mountain. So we want the valley to turn into a mountain. So that's just one way I remember it. Molehills, you don't want to turn a molehill into a mountain. So I'm starting with the valley, and I will make a mountain out of the valley. And I'll do the next one. And I found that different cardstock, some of it's easier, certain colors are easier to score than other colors. And this one's a lot easier to score when you've got a distance. The other one is a little bit trickier. Okay, this side is slightly smaller than this side. Okay, and to know the difference, once you have one of your little pockets, if you stick your pocket in there, it should almost be exactly the same height as that. So this is the bottom and this is the top. So your longer piece is actually the bottom, and then this is the top. But just to be sure, when you're putting it together, you can just stick the pocket there and know which one. Because if I reversed it and I did like that, then you can definitely tell that this smaller one is not it, that they don't line up. All right, so there's our base. I'm just gonna, the reason that we want to know which one lines up is because we are going to take the trio punch, and we are going to punch the top part, not the bottom, the top part. Okay, so I've got the top part. We'll use our corner rounder part, and we'll punch both of those corners. All right, and while we're at that, I'm going to go ahead and do the smallest piece of the DSP. I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom. Now, if it had directions like this one, you want to be sure that you're doing it the correct way so that your trees or whatever are not upside down. On this one, it doesn't matter. It's not directional. Okay, this is a super cool punch. And you can see how this is going to just line up. Whoops, except for I didn't cut it very well. After I didn't. I moved it. All right, woo, saved. All right, so there you go. That's what that's going to be like in a minute. All right, let's move to the pockets. Okay, so here are the pockets. That's the one that I kind of scribble-wibbled and messed that one up. All right, so again, we're going to get our bone folder and we're going to fold. Now remember, am I going to make a a mountain out of a molehill? No, I'm going to make the mountain out of a valley. So I'm going to take the valley and I'm going to turn it. And like I said, this one's going to be a little trickier because the score lines are so close together. And that's, your bone folder definitely comes in handy. Alright, and then, alright, we've got all of those scored, and then if you kind of can see if I put it together, sort of just in the air, not actually glued it together, that, let me wiggle that a little bit, that you can see that it pretty much just exactly lines up, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to put glue on this tab right here. Let's see if I have any multi-purpose liquid glue. Oh, good, I do. All right, we're going to put a little bit there, and we are going to kind of wiggle it, just line it up. That's one thing that's so nice about the liquid glue, is that it gives you some wiggle room. Once you've got it to where you would like it to be, then you can take your bone folder and just kind of reach inside. You can go all the way across and press down so that you've got it there, and there you have it. All right, and I've gone ahead and I've done all four, because you need, or the other three, so that you've got the four. All right, so now those are ready. Let's go ahead and put our DSP onto our base. So we'll need our liquid glue again. All right, we'll put this on the tab that's gonna hang down on the front. All right, and Stampin' Up! Has the best DSP. And I know right now there's a wonderful holiday one, and that's the one that the trees came from, and that's one that you can get free when you make a $50 purchase during celebration. All right, and get this one going. Now you could, if you wanted to, go ahead and make more DSP. You could put the DSP on the bottom and the top, but I think it's fine just the way it is. Just depends on what you want to do. All right, so that is ready. That's going to be it's going to look a lot like that. So now we have to put the pockets in, and I've looked, this is where that little tab was, and that's where I'm just randomly decided to put it on the right hand side at the back, so they'll all be exactly the same. All right, on this very first one, I'm going to use the liquid glue. Okay, and I'm going to be a little bit liberal with the liquid glue. All right, and then when I place it down, I'm going to place it just above the score line there and try to make it even on from side to side. Okay, and I can kind of push it down, make sure it's in there really good. All right, the next one, I'm not going to use liquid glue. I'm actually going to use tear-in tape. I will look and see where that seam is, and it's right there, so I want it to be at the back on the right hand side. It really doesn't matter. I just thought it would be good if it was consistent. Okay, I'm going to take the tear-in tape, and we're going to make an X on this one. So there's part of my X. All right, and the other half of the X. And why the X's? Well, I think it just gives you a little bit more accordion movement. Okay, so I've got my X ready to go. I've got my seam here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up on this side, and I also want to line up across the top. And the nice thing is, until you really press it down, you're good. All right, so you just want to make it even. Okay, now I'm going to press all that down. The tear-in tape is a good strong tape. It's great for things, for making paper crafting projects and not just cards. All right, the next one, same exact thing. We'll make another X. And then we'll put our third pocket on. Okay. And the key, I think, is just going to be to line them all up evenly. All right, again, here's the seam on that one. In the back right is where I've decided to put it. Line it up. And the thing that to me, you want to line up the most is on the sides and on the top. You want that to be as even as you can. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, we'll push that down. All right, one more, same exact thing. Last one. So, and it doesn't really matter the size of the X, I don't believe. The one, this seems to work well. Okay, last tear and tape. Okay, and last pocket. Again, I'm seeing the seam here. So I'm going to put it on the right. Line up the top and the sides. And if I feel like it's pretty much lined up, I will push it down. Okay, and now you've got all 4 of your slots. And if you'll see, because of those X's, you've not secured all in here, and so it gives it a little bit of opening. All right, we don't have to worry about the bottom. We're not going to do any gluing there, but we will glue this part. Again, we'll glue that with liquid glue. So the front and the back are done with liquid glue. Okay, and you want to put the glue on this part and not on this part because there's a little bit of extra space there. All right, so you're just going to set it down and close it up. Make sure it's going to be fairly close, fairly lined up. That one seems like that very front one doesn't. All right, and now I'm going to press that down. And it'll take just a minute to get that to set, so I'm not going to do anything else to it at the moment. Let that dry. Okay, let me cap my liquid glue because I'm finished with that. And now we're going to move to a sentiment on there, and we're going to put it on. This one is actually one that came from an old paper pumpkin, but if you like the word enjoy, it's also in the Pampered Pet stamp set. So it's the same word. I really liked the dots on this particular one, so you may or may not have that one, but if you do have the Pampered Pets stamp set, there is the neat word enjoy. All right, so now I'm going to take mini dimensionals. I'm just going to take 2. I'm going to put one on one side, one on the other side, and our ribbon is going to run through between those 2 mini dimensionals. Okay, so now I'm going to pull that over. Well, it would help if I didn't make it upside down. Okay, and then that gives you just enough room to tuck a ribbon in. And here is a ribbon. I believe it's a retired ribbon. It came in a set of 2. I think it was the Ornate a ribbon pack. All right, and then just so that's just kind of cool because you can just thread it through. And we're going to tie it up. But first, before we tie it, let's go ahead and put some tea bags in so you can see how nicely it works. So, and I'm using English Breakfast and Earl Grey, and I am just alternating those. And you can use whatever tea flavors you would like or your recipient would like. So, and then now we're going to, so I can tuck that in. We're going to close it up. And we're going to hopefully tie a bow. Now I've done ones where it was not a bow, and that's fine, except for the fact that it's sort of a knot, and then your recipient has to untie the knot, and a bow is a whole lot easier for the recipient to get into whatever it is that you've put inside. So I don't know if they have things like if hot chocolate comes in a little packet like that, but that would be fun as well. So I know here in our area it is about to be fall, and fall makes me think of hot chocolate or campfire s'mores and hot drinks. So wiggle that up. And the ribbon, if you wanted to, I think the ribbon size, the was approximately 14 inches. So there it is. And that's just a really cool, all our tea bags are in there. Just a really cool gift. So that is it. Seems like I might have forgotten something, but anyway, use whatever ribbon that you would like, and whatever colors and everything. You can tell that these are empty, but and this one's full and ready to go. So I hope that you've enjoyed this project, and I hope that you might be used to inches instead of centimeters, and if so, this is the project for you. It's something similar to this has been around for a long time, for years and years, because I was searching to try to figure out the origin of this. So, but there you have it. This is the project for today, and I'm so glad that you joined me in the Creative Treehouse today. And I would love it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am working so hard at trying to figure out how to make one YouTube video a week. That's my goal. And I would love it if you'd subscribe and see how long it takes me to get there. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time in the Treehouse. Bye-bye.